It's Thursday, September 12th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we learn more about the exciting events scheduled at the Barnstable Adult Community Center, and a reminder from Chief Sonnabend if you are looking for a career as a police officer in the town of Barnstable. Now for a look at municipal and legislative notes. The Barnstable Police Department is currently accepting applications for lateral transfers to fill civil service vacancies. To be eligible for consideration, candidates must have successfully completed a full-time MPTC-approved police academy and have a minimum of 2 years full-time law enforcement experience. They're seeking highly motivated officers who possess solid problem-solving capabilities, strong verbal and written communication skills, and a commitment to excellence. Application process: interest candidates should email letter of interest and resume to Lieutenant Jean Chalice, Executive Services Division, Barnstable Police Department, chalicej@barnstablepolice.com. Walks and talks, virtual visits, and a whole lot more is happening this fall at the Barnstable Adult Community Center. Director Madeline Noonan joins us in studio with the highlights. The weather has definitely cooled down. It's time to get back outdoors and commune with nature. Well, you know what? The Barnstable Adult Community Center has lots of activities, from nature walks right through to talks. With me today, the Executive Director of Barnstable Adult Community Center. It's starting to roll off the tongue a little bit more. Yeah. Madeline Noonan, you are really literally just jumping right into fall with all your programming.
Yeah, it never stops for us, Paula. As you know, there's one thing, another. There's multiple things going on all the time. I mean, there's such a hustle and bustle of activity every day at the center. But fall is great. You know, like we know on Cape Cod we don't exactly get the best winters, and I think the Old Farmer's Almanac is predicting a pretty harsh and frigid winter this year. So we're really trying to impart to people that spend as much time outdoors now while you can. I mean, the summer can be a little hot and humid to really do a lot of stuff outdoors. Fall's perfect. I mean, look at this. Who wants to be indoors on these beautiful days? And we recently launched an outdoor adventure program, which was something that we had wanted to do for a while, but we didn't have a dedicated staff person to do it. And then we hired Diane Francis to do our evening program activities, and we had some funding that gave her some additional hours that we thought, well, Diane's got great energy, she loves being outdoors, and so she's basically developed this program now where we're scheduling little trips. And it's a great way to discover Cape Cod. So recently they just did a trip to Crow's Farm in Sandwich. They did a trip with LL Bean doing bird watching around Eagle Pond. There's a trip coming up to Sandy Neck that has over 30 people signed up, so there's clearly an interest in this. Just for people to get outdoors, but also to have that connection with other people, where for some folks they might not want to go for a walk alone, but when you're doing it as part of a group, it's a lot more fun and meaningful experience. So perfect fall season to get outside. There's going to be a trip to a cranberry bog in Harwich. We're going to stroll along the Cape Cod Canal, and also one of my favorite places on the Cape, which it's amazing how many people have never heard of it or have never been there, is the Knob out in Falmouth. It's a beautiful spot, and we're also going to pair with that a trip to Spore Gardens, which is a place I just discovered a couple of months ago. Because I saw somebody had posted some beautiful pictures on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, nice flowers out there, and it will be lovely in the fall. So it's just really nice for us to be able to extend our programming beyond the four walls of the facility and to get people out and moving, because that's all what healthy and successful aging is all about, is to keep active in every way.
Right, and when we talk about some of the places that folks are going to go, are you providing transportation there? How does the programs work?
Yeah, so for, there's an option where either people can meet there, carpool, or when available, our van will be providing transportation for some folks. Obviously, we've got some people who can't drive, and we want to make sure, that we're able to get them out and about, because it's a sense of, again, connection, and it's so important to, be able to enjoy the beautiful outdoor surroundings that we're so fortunate to live on this beautiful place. So we want to make sure that there's access for people to get there. The only thing that I would caution and encourage is that people sign up quick, because this is very popular, and some of these activities are going to fill up, especially with our vans where there's only certain numbers of people that we can accommodate on the vehicles.
Right, and they don't have to be fit to climb Mount Washington, but
no, we're not doing, I mean, this is more for active older adults. So for
Right.
people that maybe have some mobility issues, there would be challenges on some of the trails that we're doing. Honestly, I would just recommend that people just give us a call, and
Right.
at 508-862-4750, and we can just kind of let them know. But it's just, again, look, we just released
Right.
our October-November issue of the Compass, and we have, this is a picture of a recent trip that we took, and you can just see it's wonderful for us to be able to
Right.
show, this outdoor element that we really haven't been able to dedicate resources to in the past.
Right, and the Cape is just so beautiful at this
Yeah.
time
Oh,
of
yeah.
year. They should bring their cameras.
Yes, absolutely bring your camera, because it might be your future cover picture.
Right.
Definitely cranberry bog I see at some point next fall.
Right.
But I think it's just a commitment to us always trying to do new things and be responsive to what the community wants from us. So, and already we're hearing about, new connections and friendships being made. And so, part of our hope is that as people meet each other and, get connected and expand their social circles, that this is something that they can just, schedule their own outdoor activities, so we're excited where this is going to take us.
Right, and these aren't just the only programs. If folks want to sign up for these, they can go out to the website, they can look at the Compass
Yes.
and call you, but definitely there's so many other programs that are going there. You've got a couple of new ones
Yeah.
that are really interesting. The self-defense one that I just read about was just something totally different.
Yeah, the Krav Maga, which is something that was actually quite new to us until fairly recently, came about because last year we had done a pretty extensive survey, and we asked people the kind of activities that they wanted. And again, this is where the more outdoor activities came from. And we had, when we were reviewing all of the suggestions, there were many, pages and pages, which was great, but in 3 separate places, people had written Krav Maga. And so
KRAVMAGA.
And so
okay.
it was like I asked our activity coordinator, Susan Griffin, have you heard of what's Krav Maga? And when we looked it up, we found out that it's a form of self-defense that is used to train the Israeli Defense Forces. So actually what had also come up besides Krav Maga was people wanted self-defense. I think there's really this sense of, wanting to be able to protect yourself. You never know where you could be or what could happen, and sort of having those skills, is a very beneficial a skill for people to have regardless of their age. So we were very interested, but obviously it wasn't an easy thing to find, somebody to teach it. But we were lucky to partner with Cape Cod Krav Maga, and they actually came in a couple of months ago and did an initial session, and it was amazing. I mean, when we're talking about trying to be more of a multi-generational facility, this really was, because we actually had a mother and daughter that signed up to take this class together. So there were people of different generations in there, and we felt like this is something that clearly there's a need for. So we're very excited that we're going to be doing this in October through November. It's going to be an evening class. So for a lot of people that are working or maybe not available to come in during the day, this is something that we would encourage. We've got excellent trainers. And it's a great way to have more self-confidence in your ability to protect yourself and develop those skills, but it's also great fitness. So we would highly encourage people, if they want to call us, we can give them more information on that. We also have, in addition to that, we're trying to do more dance classes. So beyond the traditional, we have 20 plus fitness classes that we offer. But we always want to try and offer new things. So we've got a Argentine tango. I know this from watching Dancing with the Stars, and it always looks like so intense. But we're very excited that that's something that we're going to be offering. So if there's any couples out there that kind of feel like a little, interest in doing something that has a lot of passion, but also something that's really good learning, having to learn dance steps and improve your coordination and have fun. And
the feet are connected to the mind.
I have 2 left feet, so I don't think I'll be trying this one out right now, but my husband loves to dance. But so, it's like, but again, this is us trying to say, look, there's a
Right.
lot going on at the Barnstable Adult Community Center.
Right.
So we want to see that be successful, and we're offering an information session that people can come in and just find out about it and see if it's the right fit for them before they sign up for the whole activity.
That's fantastic. And one of the activities that we noticed over the last few years here at Barnstable Recreation has been archery.
Yeah.
The whole Harry Potter and Hunger Games
yeah,
has
yeah.
made this resurgence of an activity that was required in my gym class
Yeah,
back in the,
yeah.
the 70s. But you're going to offer archery.
Yeah, this is really cool. It kind of ties into the self-defense. If we
Right.
ever have to fend for ourselves, you got archery, you got self-defense, we're all set. Yeah,
Senior Hunger Games?
Yeah, why? Oh, well, maybe not right now, but we could be going in that direction. No, archery was something that we saw, Recreation offer, and it's really one of their most popular activities.
It is.
And I think it's just, again, one of those things where, why does it just have to be for the youth, I mean, there could be an interest here for our older adult population for this program. So this is a partnership that we're doing with the Recreation Department. George Noonan, the program coordinator over there, is going to be coming over and doing 4 sessions, really to see if there's an interest in this. It's an evening class, so it's going to be 5 to 6 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays in October. And why not give it a shot? Give it a shot, pardon
Right.
the pun. But why not try it out?
Exactly.
And see if you're a good aim or not. But I think it would just be, for us again, we're able to do this on our grounds. It's a nice way for us to utilize the great
Right.
space that we have around the facility and do more outdoor programming on site, which is something that we're really trying to develop a long-term vision for. Some of the areas that we have. We've got a pond behind the facility, which is beautiful, that we'd love to put a nature trail in there. Pickleball is another thing that we hear a lot about.
Right.
Potentially adding a pickleball court to the ground. So we're going to be doing a lot more dialogue about that, just exploring how we can work to enhance the grounds and really maximize not just the indoor space, but also the outdoor space. Very exciting.
Right. So if folks have suggestions, how should they communicate those to
So
you?
we are all, when I say all of us, our entire team at the Adult Community Center are open ears, and we're always willing to try something out. And over the years, there have been times where we've, had interest expressed in a certain thing where we've tried to get it going. And then not everything is successful. Sometimes
Right.
it's just about the timing. It's about building an interest group, that or having somebody who's willing to facilitate. For us, we want to make sure that everything that we do, if we're putting resources into it, and time into it, that there's going to be a payoff. And sometimes it does take some time to build some programs.
Right.
For example, one of the things that we're doing now, which is, becoming more and more successful the more that we offer it, is our Senior Learning Network program. So, through this, we are able to offer learning experiences where it doesn't, it's not the traditional have a presenter come in and speak
Right.
to a group in the room. We are connecting with people all across the country. So it's virtual learning is basically what we call it. So we have a big clear touch screen where we're able to go use all this great technology. We have this Zoom room that we set up where we can actually engage directly with people anywhere, any place. So like just last week, we had a presentation on pioneering women in history with the university in Texas. It was
Right.
fascinating. We also just recently visited a National Historic Site in Kansas called Fort Larned, where we learned all about the Buffalo Soldiers. We visited California State Parks, and coming up we have, in October, we're going to be visiting Texas to learn all about rehabilitating sea turtles.
Oh, cool.
So this is in real time, that our
Right.
participants coming in can actually ask questions and speak. It's an amazing way to learn, and it's new because of the technology. And then we're also going to be visiting Alaska to learn about their gray wolves up there and meeting a gray wolf. So again, it's it's new, and sometimes the technology can be a little glitchy at times. But for the feedback that we've received is that people just love that we're sort of going beyond the walls, as sort of like saying we don't want to just offer traditional programs. We want to look at new ways to engage people, and that's very exciting for us.
Great. You're thriving inside and outside
Always
at the
thriving.
Barnstable Adult
That's
Community
the key
Center.
word. You got it.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Madeline.
Thanks, Paula.
The Barnstable Police Department currently employs 118 sworn officers with approximately 14 civilian employees and 14 civilian dispatchers. It is the largest police department on Cape Cod. They are now accepting applications for lateral transfers to fill out the service vacancies. Chief Sonnabend joins us in studio with the details. Promotions, people moving on, always lots of attrition within public safety. Chief Sonnabend, you've got some openings.
Yeah, we're gonna have some openings, that's for sure. We get, we're right now in the process of doing some promotions here, some lieutenants and some sergeants coming up. We've had some people retire and move on. You know, and as we promote these people, it's going to create some openings down at the patrolman level. And right now we're looking at 10 vacancies that we got to fill. We're a civil service police department, so we're working with civil service to get the list, and the list is out right now. So if you're on the list, you should be getting an email from civil service and come on out and sign the list and get into the process. So we got to go through that process. It's about a 10-day process where we got to wait, see who comes in and signs the list. And then after that, we proceed with backgrounds and the other things that we got to do, interviews and things like that. We're looking at a February academy down here on Cape Cod. The Cape Cod Police Academy is going to run their second class. It's going to be right around in the middle of February, late February. So that's the class we're shooting for. So, getting all the medicals and oral boards and physical assessments and everything that needs to get done in that time frame it's tight, but we'll get it done, and we'll get as many out of that 10 as we're looking for.
All right. And there's actually a process, there's somebody within your staff that handles a lot of this. Lieutenant Jean Chalice is really kind of managing the process. And one of the things that was interesting to me when I first heard that you guys were hiring again was the whole lateral move. So knowing in the fire departments, some of our volunteer fire departments lose their folks to career firefighters. What's this lateral type of, from other police force to another police force? How does that work?
Well, it's not necessarily just to a police force. It's from one civil service agency to another. So technically, you could lateral to a fire department if you got the approval, because it's still like a civil service department.
Right.
But it's a lateral move within civil service. And the way that works is one chief of police has to sign off and allow one of his employees that's on civil service to transfer over to another civil service police department. And the police department that's receiving that person also has to sign off and say, yes, I'm willing to accept. If the chief where the officer currently works does not want to let him go, then that person can't leave. If the chief on the other end doesn't want to accept the person, then the person can't transfer. So there's a blanket there, some civil service things. You have to be a civil service department. Like, for instance, if someone was working in Mashpee is not a civil service police department. They could not apply as a lateral transfer to us, because we are a civil service police department. That individual could take the new civil service exam and be on the list and get hired as a new hire, but they could not lateral. Because they have it all has to do with civil service. You've got your civil service standing, you've got your civil service tenure, and then you can transfer.
Right. And by lateral position, it's not going to a higher grade.
No, it's not like you go, not like a sergeant in, take Mashpee. If Mashpee was civil service, transfer to Barnstable, they wouldn't be a sergeant over here in Barnstable. They'd be a patrol position. So we accept lateral patrol positions.
Okay.
And then what happens is, generally, the people that transfer are people with usually less than 5 years on the job. They're fairly new, and they transfer for a variety of different reasons. Usually, one of the big ones is they transfer from a smaller agency to a larger agency for more opportunities at promotion, more opportunities at specialty assignments, and things like that. And sometimes they get hired somewhere, and it's not quite a good fit. They may be a good employee, but hey, this isn't really working out for me. Sometimes we see people that have grown up in small towns, want to transfer to a larger town, or a town that's not where they grew up, because they're dealing with their friends all day long and and associates and people they knew all day long. So some people, it's a bit uncomfortable for some people, so they want to transfer somewhere that's maybe close by where they live, somewhere they're familiar with, and so they want to go somewhere else and deal with a larger population and maybe not run into as many of their friends that they grew up with and stuff like that. So there's a variety of reasons why people want to leave. Some good, some bad.
Right. And then when we talk about, that particular lateral move where you kind of are getting an employee that has some work history, that has some documentation of how they've performed on a job, compared to what you see now with a good economy, people really wanting, you know, they're younger people looking for the force. You don't have a whole lot of work history on these
Well,
folks.
you know, and that's a good point right there. I mean,
Yeah.
right here you got, you know, say if you're going to hire somebody that's straight out of college, you know, they may have had some menial jobs, may not have had any, may have just devoted their time to school and whatnot and took their summers off. So they come and they apply, they're 22 years old, they just got out of college, and they really don't have a lot of work history. You can't really, one of the big things you're looking for on any job is you want to see what kind of employee are you? Are you going to show up to work on time? Are you loyal? Do you work hard? Those are some basic things that just you can get out of any job, and that's one of the things that we look for. You know, what kind of work history do you have? And they may have minimal work history. So that's kind of a downside there. The upside on the civil service side or the transfer side is not only are you seeing someone that obviously has had a job for at least a couple of years, you're also seeing that they've done the same job that you're looking to fill. So you get a good look at, number one, what kind of work history do they have? Number two, what kind of police officer are they? There is no guess. A lot of the new hires, you're kind of making an educated guess. They have a desire for the job. They've taken a test. They've gone to college. They've been educated, but they haven't ever really done the job. Most of them, you know. So it's like you don't have an opportunity to say, okay, well, what kind of police officer would you be? So you're kind of taking an educated guess on some of those people, and most of the times it pays off. But you know, we've had people we get hired, brand new hires, get in here, and they're here in their FTO process, and they come in and sit down and tell you, you know what, this job isn't for me, and they go, and you lose out on that investment because it can be expensive to hire a police officer. Not to mention the time investment in it. It takes about a year, all the training and everything else that gets done, and you know, you've invested all this time, and now the person comes in and says, you know, this job really wasn't what I thought it would be.
And this isn't just one or two. This is, you know, you're talking 10 at this.
We're looking at 10 right now.
And come spring, first of the year, could be another 10, 15 folks.
Well, you know, but come spring, there could be another 3, 4, 5. You know, we've got people that are getting to that point now in their careers. It's starting to take a look at retirement, and you know, you get people that are, you know, get hurt and they might not be coming back. So you got to take a look at your best guess. And right now we got 10, and we're in that process to fill those 10. We'll get as many of those, and then whatever we can't get, you know, we got to roll over into the next class. And the other thing that factors into this is what's the academy availability. Right now, the Cape Cod, Plymouth is running a class in December, and that's going to be too soon. We can't get into that. Cape Cod is running a class in February, but if we don't get into that, the next available class in the area is in Randolph in June. So, and that's, you know, like a 2-hour commute each way, and then try and do that in the summertime, coming over the bridge and back and forth 5 days a week. That's a difficult proposition. So if that's out, then you're looking in sometime in the late fall, early winter for the next class. So there could be a gap of time there where you can't fill anybody. You may have people you want to hire, you got a list, but you just don't have a class to send them to.
Right. And it's different industries out there have different ways of recruiting, you know, employees. Your CSO program has been somewhat successful in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these young men and women coming onto the force. Is there something that sticks there with these young adults that seems like they've worked with the department, and this is kind of, they know this is what they want to do?
Well, it is good. It's an opportunity for them to come in and see, hey, what kind of is it like? You know, see the police officers, go down there, go on some of the calls, be around some of the activity. So they get a good look at, you know, kind of what it's about. Another good source is internships. We get high school kids, college kids come in and do internships. A lot of stuff they do tends to be clerical because we can't just, you know, they go on ride-alongs, they sit in the dispatch area, so they get another look at it. And then, you know, another one is dispatchers. We've hired dispatchers in the past, you know, or even now we're hiring dispatchers. They come in and when you hire them as a dispatcher, like, I'm not really interested in being a police officer. No, I want to be a dispatcher. But then they come in after a couple of years, they're like, you know, this is interesting. You know, I had no idea how this really was, and you know, this does interest me, and so they apply. So there are a couple of different avenues they have, and then with those avenues, not only do they get an opportunity to kind of look at what we do, you know, we get an opportunity to look at, you know, how are they. You know, so it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes if you're a good employee and you go there and you do that and like, it's a good employee, it's a good, you know, good person to take a shot with. Sometimes they come in and probably not the one we want to hire, but but it's good for both of us. It's good for them, it's good for us. We fill a slot, they get an opportunity to take a look at something, and you know, we maybe get a prospective employee in the future.
All right. So what's the process? Are there some deadlines that folks need to be aware of for these lateral positions?
Right now, by Friday, they're going to have the civil service list signed,
Okay.
this coming Friday. And then next Monday, there's going to be all the people that have signed the list. We have an orientation night. We bring them all back, and we run down the list of, hey, here's what we expect. Here's what you got to do. Here's the application, fingerprints, photographs. Get a lot of some of that office clerical work done, and then they're given some dates after that. Hey, here's when you got to have your application back. Here's when your first interview is, and then they roll from there. So but it really depends on who signed the list, and then we move forward from there.
Excellent. That's great information, and hopefully your hiring event is successful.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief.
Have a great day.
Up next, things to do, places to go, and people to meet. A 60s themed dance party paying tribute to the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots in New York will be held from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Friday night at the Barnstable Adult Community Center, 825 Falmouth Road in Hyannis. Love beads will be given out, and attendees are asked to dress in 60s-era outfits. The Stonewall riots are seen as a spark for the modern gay rights movement. The party is sponsored by the Mid-Cape LGBT Older Adults Group with support from the LGBTQ Welcoming Committee of the First Parish Brewster Unitarian Universal Church. The event is free, but donations are accepted to cover the cost of food. No alcohol is allowed. Reservations are required by calling 508-862-4753. Comments, suggestions, accolades, connect with us on Facebook, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.